Hi YouTube, I wanted to share something personal with you about why I switched to cloth menstrual pads. When I first saw them online, I thought, that is so disgusting. Why would anybody want to use cloth pads? But, I had heard about women who don't use any type of menstrual products. They just let things breathe down there, and where the blood goes, the blood goes. And I know that that's a healthier option. And I also just kept reading on it just to stay informed about what's out there, and it's always good just to see what other things are, to just keep yourself constantly educated. So I started reading on them with great disgust, and started listening to people on YouTube with disgust, and it was really difficult for me to keep watching these videos and reading online about cloth menstrual products, because I always hated my period. I hated talking about my period, even with the doctor. It's not something I wanted to have in my life if I could help it. Periods were just not something I wanted to discuss or think about unless it was that time of the month. I even was on this pill for a little while where you only get your period 4 times a year, because I just hated my period. I've always had problems with it being really heavy, getting really bad cramping. So I just had super bad experiences with my period. So anyway, after doing some research about cloth pads, I discovered that they're more environmentally friendly, obviously. There's no chemicals in them, obviously. And a lot of women that get a lot of yeast infections, or they get more diseases because there's no airflow with the disposable ones, they switched to cloth pads as well. There are other women out there that say that their periods weren't as heavy after using the cloth pads, and that's because you get a little bit more airflow in there. So it's a more natural option. Also, in the long term, it's more of a money saver, and that's another reason why a lot of people switch to cloth. And so I kept reading after seeing all these things. So disposable pads have a lot of chemicals in them, and that's why they can absorb so well. Cloth pads can absorb about the same amount. The only difference is when you get those super absorbency pads, the disposables hold just a tiny, tiny bit more than the cloth ones do. But it's really a minute, tiny amount. And the liners and every other one in between holds just the same amount of blood in them. And that is one thing that really interested me, was are they functionable? Are these going to work in my everyday life? So I decided to try them out, thinking I probably wouldn't like them, but I hadn't seen a bad review or any bad thing about them online, except for they cost a little bit more money up front. So I bought 3 of them, different sizes, different padding in the middle to soak up more and to soak up less. And I ended up loving them. They are amazing. I feel like crying. They just saved the way that I look at my periods. I have periods every month now, and I am almost kind of excited to get my period every month, because I'm still fairly new to cloth pads. I haven't been using them for even a year yet, so some of my cloth pads are pretty new, and I enjoyed learning how to clean them, and just they have fun little prints on them. Like, here's one of mine, here's another one of mine. Here's this cute flower one. You know, I mean, they're just kind of fun. And the lady that I buy mine from, Yurt Craft, she always has like these really fun prints on there. So I go online all the time to kind of see what print she has. I hope to be making a big order pretty soon to get the stash that I need for an entire period. I have to wash mine all the time because I don't have enough for an entire period. But I think it was last month, it was getting kind of cold outside, and I hand washed all of mine, and then I line dried them, and some of them didn't get dry in time, so I had to use a disposable one, waiting for all of mine to get dry, or at least one of them to get dry, and it was just so gross that I just thought, oh, how did I ever even use disposables? It's disgusting. And with the cloth pads, you barely feel them on. They're so nice feeling, and they're not gross at all. Even when you're cleaning them, it's nothing. You know, it's treated like nothing to clean them, just like your regular clothes. I mean, you get a bunch of dirt on your clothes, or you get a little spit up on your clothes from, you know, the baby next door or your own baby. It doesn't super gross you out, right? Especially if you just get some dirt on there. It's the same thing. It's just not even, it's just no big deal. It's just crazy because I thought it was going to be this huge deal. So that's my story. They have actually helped my periods a little bit, not a lot. So there's a testimonial there. And the price, I've actually only made 2 orders, so I have 5 cloth menstrual pads, and they have paid for themselves already, because like I said, I have heavier periods, so I have to buy the thicker pads anyway. So in that aspect, it's worked out really well for me. I know cloth pads last a long time. Some people have them anywhere from 5 to 10 years, plus, depending on how many they have and how well they take care of them. So I hope my testimonial helps everyone out there. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I love talking about cloth pads. It's like so crazy. I'm like a different person about talking about periods and menstrual stuff. But yeah, just let me know if you have any questions. I'm really happy to answer them. Thanks, YouTube.